When I arrived at the cabin, the one my family had been talking about for months, it was silent, too silent. No laughter, no bags at the porch, no familiar chatter of my mother organizing everything like a drill sergeant. Just the echo of wind brushing through pine trees. I called out once. Nothing. Then, out of habit, I checked my phone. One message from my mother. "This trip is for real family only." And one from my sister. "Take care of my kids and dog, bye." That was it. No explanation, no apologies. Just the digital equivalent of a door slammed in my face. I stared at the screen for a long time, until the mountain air stung my eyes enough to hide the tears. Then I turned around, walked back to my car, and booked another ticket. Not home, somewhere better. Somewhere I could think. I used to think family was unconditional, that no matter how fractured we were, blood would hold us together. I was the quiet one, the dependable one, the one who covered my sister's debts when she gambled, who took care of our mother when she had her surgery, who cleaned up the messes they left behind and still said, "It's fine." Maybe that was my mistake. They took my silence for weakness. It started months before the trip, when I noticed whispers between them, sudden family dinners I wasn't invited to, photos posted online without me. My mother said, "Oh, it was last minute." My sister laughed, "You're always so busy." No, I wasn't. I just wasn't included. I didn't ask why. I already knew the answer. I wasn't the favorite. I was the function, the one who fixes things but never belongs. When the message came, "This trip is for real family only," I realized something cruel. They didn't forget me. They excluded me. Intentionally. They wanted a family trip without the reminder of who actually kept the family running. And the message from my sister, "Take care of my kids and dog," wasn't just rude, it was strategic. She knew I'd do it. I always did. But that day, something inside me stopped obeying. I took care of her kids, yes, her dog too. But I also took care of something else, myself. Revenge doesn't always arrive with anger. Sometimes it's quiet, cold, precise. I started small. My sister had a side business, selling vintage jewelry online. Except most of it was imported junk she resold at triple the price. I helped her register it legally last year, under my name. She thought it didn't matter. "You're better at paperwork," she said. She was right. When tax season came, she ignored it, as usual. I didn't. I filed everything, every undeclared sale, every misreported item. The authorities contacted me first, then her. She panicked, called my mother called me. I didn't answer. While they were on their real family vacation, smiling for photos in matching shirts, I sat in a quiet cafe downtown, sending one final email. To the landlord. The house they lived in? Still technically under my name. I co-signed years ago when my sister's credit score was too low. I reminded him of that. And I reminded him of the unpaid rent, 4 months' worth, which I'd been covering silently. He terminated the lease. They returned from vacation to find a notice taped to their door. And that was only the beginning. Their bank accounts froze temporarily during the investigation. My sister's online store got suspended for tax irregularities. My mother's savings, the one she always claimed I never contributed to, had been partially funded through my transferred money over the years. I quietly revoked my authorization. In a single week, the pillars they stood on, comfort, money, security, cracked. And I didn't raise my voice once. 3 days later, they showed up at my apartment. My mother pale, trembling, my sister sobbing, furious. "Why didn't you tell us?" my mother said. "As if you'd listen," I replied. My sister pointed at me like I was the villain. "You ruined everything!" I smiled. No, I just stopped fixing it. For the first time, the silence wasn't heavy, it was satisfying. They looked at me like I was someone else. Maybe I was. They left that night, No more calls, no more texts. Just the occasional quiet rumor through distant relatives that things were hard, that they wished I'd forgiven them. Forgiveness. Funny word. They used it like a weapon to reset their sins without consequence. But I didn't want forgiveness. I wanted distance. The kind that lets you breathe again. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. It's about removal. Taking back what they took. Time, peace, self-respect. When I arrived for that trip and found no one there, they thought they'd left me behind. But what they didn't realize was, that was the last time they'd ever leave me out. Because from that day on, they stopped existing in my world. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.